Hello. So, one of the things that I'm realizing on this spiritual awakening, that one of the biggest things that we deal with, one of the is self-mastery. It's that's what it's about. It's self-mastery. And it's about mastering our own emotions, which means that we take control of our own selves. We take control of our ego. We take control of our reactions, how we react outwardly. We take control of our emotions. We don't allow things from the outside to determine how we feel on the inside. And this is a process. This is something that, that as we go through and as we rise and as we take control of our own selves and our emotions and our ego, and we realize that the ego is our tool for us to use, and we are in the soul seat, then old triggers, things that would have once upon a time rattled our whole existence, would have moved us, would have made us question ourselves, would have made us feel in a certain way, would have set us out of balance for days on end. All of a sudden, it's like if you're getting, even when something is aimed directly at you and hits you like an arrow, let's say, like an emotional arrow, you still are able to receive it and then hold the reaction. Hold it. Allow the emotions to settle. Kind of look at the emotions and watch them. And as you rise into this place, first of all, you're able to stay centered even when something is directed directly at you, and somebody is blaming you, or somebody is hurt because of you, or somebody, and then you're able to take whatever it is, and look at it rationally. And you can, even when it's directed at you, it doesn't send you out of balance or into like a whirlwind, or make you feel really bad, or make you feel mad, or you don't have that automatic reaction. There is a pause in between the receiving, and then you just stay centered, and you allow yourself to process. Sometimes we even feel those really intense emotions, and we're able to observe them and not blame outwardly. Not, one thing I'm finding is that it's like if you have a little container or a massive container. My container has been expanded to where I can, even if somebody is shooting arrows directly at me and keeps shooting them at me and shooting the blame and hurt feelings, and I'm able to take it for what it is. I'm able to, through that, instead of taking it personally and saying no and fighting against, I'm able to, through it, first of all, most of the time it doesn't even strike me. I can see right through it. So you can see where this other person, where their pain is, and why they are acting or reacting the way that they are. And you rise above it. You don't get mad about it. You don't get hurt from it. You don't um, want to blame them for it. It's exactly the opposite. You feel like it's an opportunity, first of all, for you to grow through it, but also for you to be able to see them through it and not react directly to what they are saying. It's like you see the higher reasoning for what they are doing, and you don't take it personally. It doesn't affect you personally. It's more like an opportunity to allow them to put out what they're feeling, because a lot of times, somebody starts lashing out, it's because whatever you did, or whatever the situation is, touches them in their raw places, touches them on an open wound, touches them in a place where they aren't healed, and then they lash out. They start blaming, or they get mad, or they, the automatic is to push. It's to push away from that place, or to lash out so that you don't have to feel it. That's why it's so important also to be able to have that pause in between, the arrows that you receive or the emotional triggers that you receive and your reaction. Because many times if you just sit in it for a while it and allow it to settle without having that immediate automatic reaction like of blame or of being mad or of being sad or of crying or whatever it is that allows you to release it, and you just allow it to sit for a minute. Once you sit in it for a minute, you start processing it, also emotionally, but also with your mind. You start processing it. You can see why it's triggering you. You can find the falsities in it because all of the emotion is sitting within the ego. You can either find the falsities in it, and then you have an opportunity to fix within yourself, or you can find the falsities in the blame that came your way, and then you have the opportunity, first of all, to see it and to rise above it and for it not to trigger you anymore, but also for you to see this other person in their own anxiety and in their own places that they are hurting or that they are not able to face within themselves. And then you can, sometimes you can't come in and start teaching somebody when something touches them so deeply. It's not your place to come in and they're going to have to process it. Everybody has to do their own work, and a lot of times they don't, not even in a position where they can process it at that time. That's why they're lashing out. And so it's not your job to come and start pointing it out to them. Maybe everybody, oh, what a beautiful butterfly. Look, you can. I don't know if you can see it. It's beautiful. It's right here. Look, it's right there. So pretty. It flew right over me. And so a lot of times, just being there and not reacting to it. Having somebody come and shoot arrows at you and you stand tall and you just say, you just stand there. You don't react, you don't fight against, or sometimes even if you feel like you want to apologize because you touched something that you shouldn't have, all is okay. But you don't have that reaction that they're expecting. Sometimes just that in itself is healing for somebody that is standing across from you. What I'm finding more and more on this spiritual awakening is that we rise into a place where we rise above the ego, where we rise into a place that we're able to see things more clearly and more flat. Also on this twin flame journey, I'm finding that the more that we are rising, the more it becomes about the spiritual awakening, and the more it becomes about that mirror, and my rising into it, and the combined mission. So the combined mission becomes more important than your own personal grievances or your own personal wants and needs. The personal wants and needs are at the ego level. Oh, I want this. Why isn't this happening? Why? That's it's a very almost like what is the word? Greedy is what's coming to mind, but it's like something with an I. Not ideological. It's when you are being. The word is at the tip of my tongue. Otherwise, I wouldn't be stuck on it. But anyway, it's like me, being selfish almost. Then you start seeing that above me is the combined mission. There is. Something far more important than just what self-gratification or self-wanting in this twin flame journey. It's also about the self-healing within itself. See, it's all connected. So just the self-healing and coming into the place of your divinity, a healed feminine energy, is with which is what we are getting. We are getting in this twin flame journey, we're getting that balance. You're finding your divine balance in your feminine and masculine energies, right? So you're finding that perfect balance because you keep on coming and rubbing up against that mirror and getting the reflections of places that you are out of balance. That's why we keep on getting like tossed back out. It's like being pulled into a black hole and you get into the outer levels and then you're just like tossed back out because of the throw is still so hard. You know, the you get it's like two universes colliding, and then they collide and toss each other back out into space for more healing, so that you can come back in. You know, every time you do one of those rounds, you come in a little more healed, a little more in balance. You go through a whole bunch of more work, and then a whole bunch of more self-healing and self-rising. And then you start realizing that the more that you are healed and that you become one centered, strong, feminine being, or masculine, whoever's watching, you realize that any masculine, you know, the more I become a solid feminine power, any masculine that I meet, I am balancing out their masculinity. When I come in my full feminine power, masculine next to feminine wants to come into their balanced side. So in that way, it's like if we are coming into our divine selves, but we're also healing humanity. It's almost funny to say. Yeah, I feel humbled to say it, but you know, in order to embrace your powers and be able to use them rightfully, you have to first acknowledge them. And so, as funny as it is to say, and as humbled as I feel that is the truth, and I feel like by stating the truth, I can also help others realize what this is all about. And when we come into our divine feminine self-worth, self-being, standing tall, owning it, and each of us individually, yeah, each of us has our own power and our own things that we're bringing, our own healing that we're bringing into the world. You know, but when you stand tall in that feminine energy, then any masculine energy that you meet is going to be moved by the feminine energy. It is going to be, because energy wants to balance. Things want to balance in the world. It's just like everything wants to merge and become in the medium. So as you become balanced, the masculine, divine masculine energy that you meet, or even divine feminine energy that you meet, will either be completely revolted by it. And that's something that as you come into your strength, you realize that there will either be totally drawn to your energy by way of inspiration or by way of wanting to balance out, because by being in your presence, they are coming into their divinity, right? Because their divinity wants to balance out in accordance to yours. And or they are so out of balance, and you're reflecting back to them the places that they are out of balance, so they run away from themselves. They run away from their own mirror. They run away from the self-work that they need to bring, whether it's divine masculine or divine feminine, meeting with divine masculine or divine feminine. It doesn't matter. If a divine feminine meets a divine feminine that she feels is completely inferior to, then she will run away from her own mirrors. And if a divine masculine meets a divine feminine, and vice versa, right? If a divine masculine meets a divine feminine, that their power makes them feel so small next to, that they feel demasculized, they're going to run away from it, because they're running away from their own fear of facing their own inner demons and their own inner work that they have to do. So there is a combined mission of healing and balancing out the divine masculine, divine feminine energies in the world. And just by doing your own self work, And by becoming, bringing, it all comes back to the self work. It all comes back to bringing yourself back to yourself and focusing on yourself. So the more you do your own self work, you don't have to worry about the outer work. The outer work is being done. When you are mastering yourself just by being in your self strength, every person, every reflection, every meeting that you have, you are bringing that energy to it, and you're bringing healing to the world. And by bringing healing to the world, it's like a butterfly effect. You touch one place, it touches another, it touches another. You start going through and waking people up where they're at, wherever somebody is. When they meet divine masculine or divine feminine, wherever they are is going to be triggered. So it doesn't matter where they are on their spiritual, it doesn't matter if they're down here at these levels or they're at these levels. Once they meet a something that is divine, a godlike, it is going to trigger them no matter where they are. It reminds me of a conversation that I had with my father the other day. I was talking about doing videos. I was talking about, and actually in my mind, I was thinking about my twin and all the self-work that he has done, and the place that, you could see it as like a pyramid. I don't have two hands because I have to hold this, but you could see it as a pyramid. When you speak from the top of the pyramid, you speak to all the levels that are under. It's like as we rise up. At the top of the pyramid is the God level. So it doesn't even matter what you're saying when you are speaking from this level. Whatever you are saying, speaking from the top of the pyramid, which is the God level, whatever you are saying is coming from that place, and it will be registered to all of the levels below. So no matter what you're saying, it's like a good book. I was talking about this the other day, I'm sure, on a video. It's like a good book that you read. And wherever you are, it touches you. And then you can come back to it 2 years later and you can reread it and you're like, what? How did I miss that? And then you come back another 2 years because it's touching you wherever you are. Something that is divine truth, something that is at the God level or at the universe level or at the universal truth level, whatever you want to call it. It speaks to all the levels. It speaks to each and every individual wherever they are on their spiritual journey. So it all comes back to doing the self-work and the self-healing. There was something else I wanted to discuss here, but I don't remember what it was. And I'm not going to get stuck on it. I'm just going to show you where I am. I brought my son into Tiberias, and then I decided to hike up. It's called Baraniki. I think it's spelled Bernice Mountain near Tiberias. But I just hiked up here, and I started coming along. I'm going to turn it around here and show you in a minute. But I started coming along the thing, and I started smelling like you can smell when you find a cave. And I started smelling. I said, okay, there's got to be a big cave around here somewhere. I come around the corner, and sure enough, there's a cave. Because you can smell it because of all the bats that are in it. You can smell like a smell of the cave. But anyway, I'm going to show you because I'm overlooking the Sea of Galilee and Tiberias. And that's another thing. It's like on this spiritual awakening. The further you rise, the more you get to bird's eye view. So I'm sitting here, and the whole city down below is everybody's running around and hasting and going here and going there. And I can see all sorts of things that people are doing. People come out on the side of the mountain, they're doing this, and people are oblivious to what is above them. So it's like when you come to this place where you get the spiritual awakening, you come up to the top of the mountain and you can look down at humanity down. It's not like looking down, but it's like you're looking from bird's eye view. You're positioned in a place where you have far more of a vast view. And where you are sitting, you can see everybody, but very few can see you. When you rise on the spiritual awakening, there becomes a place of solitude. It becomes a place where you become completely lonely because only those who have experienced it can know what you're going through and can understand the level that you are at. Sometimes people are judging you and what you are doing from a level or from a level of consciousness that is not relevant to you, and they don't realize it, and then they start thinking, well, you're being conceited, or you're being stuck up, or they can't understand where you are from where they are at. You can't see the higher levels when you're on the lower levels. You can't. And so a lot of times that's also like in the spiritual awakening, you bypass the people that are closest to you, and at some point their their opinions of you don't matter anymore, because you can see where they are at, but they can't see where you are at. And I know that sounds kind of conceited, but anybody that is on the spiritual, I'm just saying it like I see it. And if somebody's offended, then be offended. I mean, that's just, it comes to a point where you can be nice about it, and you're not putting it in anybody's face, and you're not putting anybody, but everybody is where they're at. And at some point on this, your faith is so strong in it, and your understanding is so deep in it, and you've gone to such depths with yourself and found God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, the higher divine being, the connection to the all, whatever you want to call it. And your faith is so strong because it's undeniable. When you find that connection, it doesn't matter what the whole world around you says. The whole world can be wrong, and in your heart, you're knowing. You know it. That's what's so wonderful about the internet nowadays. We are all connected. Imagine if we were all going through this all on our own, and there was no reference, and there was nobody else, but you're in this place of such strong belief, because when you find God within yourself, it's just looking inwardly. All the answers are there. We are part of it. The spark is within us. And when you find that within yourself, it doesn't matter what the whole world around you says. It doesn't matter what your parents think. It doesn't matter what your children think. When you find that connection within you, it is so strong and so undeniable that it's undeniable. And it doesn't matter. The whole world can fall to pieces. You will not deny it. You cannot deny it. There is no place for denial. So I'm going to turn this around and show you really quick, and then I'm going to walk over here and show you this massive cave that I'm sitting right next to, that I found. So here we go. Here we go. That's the Sea of Galilee. That's Tiberias. I live over that way, beyond Tiberias, about a 20-minute drive beyond. There's the cemetery, see? And I'm going to walk over here now, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. See, there's a bird. I'm sitting above the bird. There's a bird down there. You see that bird? I'm sitting above the birds, above the bird eye view. Okay, so we're going to go over here. I'm going to show you this cave, and then I'm going to hike off this mountain. I think I'm going to go to the spring. Look at this. I don't know if you can really see how massive it is, but it is massive. A lot of the times, see, this is a fig tree. Fig trees will grow right in the entrance to caves. I don't know if you can see how big it is. It's a massive, massive cave. It was probably a cistern in ancient times. This whole mountain is full of antiquities. This is actually a mountain. The first mountain that I was arrested with my metal detector I was 25, so it was over 20 years ago. When my older kids were little. It was before the metal detectors were even really known, it was a known hobby, really. So this mountain, I used to come metal detecting here, and then I was arrested with my metal detector. And so I'm going to hike down that way. My car is over there around the corner. I'll show you where my car is. I'll just take you over there and show you. Look at those pretty flowers that started coming out. I'll just show you where my car is so you can kind of get an idea of, oh, you can't see it. I have to go all the way around that other ledge over there. So I'm not going to show you where my car is. It's over around that other ledge. So wonderful. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And this is exciting. These are exciting times to be alive, and being on this twin flame journey and going through a spiritual awakening with everything that it entails, all the pain and having to go through ourselves and everything coming up. I'm just finding that, first of all, it's a blessing. I'm feeling humbled by it, and I'm feeling graced and chosen, and understanding that, you know, if I was chosen, we were chosen, all of us. There, you know, it's almost like I feel determined to get through this and get to the place of being a light and shining and doing and fulfilling the purpose and fulfilling the mission, and getting off the being stuck on the twin flame journey, you know, going around in the loops of poor me, the ego loops. And I understand that, and I feel blessed to understand that, because this is okay. Well, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Look how far down it is. Okay. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.